I spent the last weekend at London in a mastermind surrounded by 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs, and in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the most important lessons I learned from that mastermind. Lesson one being content. Content is by far the biggest lever you can pull as a founder. And just to put this into perspective, let's just as an explanation, let's take let's say Andrew Tate, Alex Hormozy, and Iman Gadzhi. The one thing that they all have in common is that they don't run their own businesses. Leila Hormozy runs acquisition.com. Tate's brother runs his business, and Iman Gadzhi's business is run by, it used to be run by Paul Bailey, but I'm not sure who runs it right now. But the idea is that all of those guys' main task is just to drive traffic to the business. And if the biggest guys in the industry are just banging out content and their main task on a daily basis is to film content, why are we not filming content? Right? And it's so obvious. You've probably heard it hundreds of times, just post content, but it's so true. Like, posting content is the highest leverage thing you can actually do, because you get to like nurture people one to many, you get to sell one to many, and it compounds, right? And also, you basically nurture people when you're sleeping, right? You drive traffic when you're sleeping, when you're not awake. It's automatic. Lesson two being systems and delegations. I want to share this question with you guys that I got asked in the mastermind. If I took you out of your business, how long would it take for everything to collapse? For me, it's probably 2 to 3 days. If me and my business partner, if we didn't work for like 2 to 3 days, the whole agency would collapse. And we're doing high 5-figure months, close to 6 figures. And that really opened my eyes that we need to hire more people, we need to delegate, we need to build the systems. Because we're just glorified employees at this point. We're so deep in our business that we can't really see what's needle moving or not, because we're doing every little task that's like handed to us or that needs to be done. So that's why we're bringing on a copywriter and a VA really soon. It's going to be great. And if you're a founder and if you're running an agency, you should really think about it as well. Because how are you ever going to scale to 100K, 150, 200K months without proper systems or proper team members? Because I talked to this one guy at the mastermind who's making 300K at 21, working 45 hours a day, 6 days a week. And the crazy thing is that 1 hour of work produces 10 hours of work in his business, basically, because his business is so leveraged, right? If you think about it, like where I'm currently at, if I work 10 hours and they work 10 hours, or he works 10 hours, I get 10 hours of work done. He gets 100 hours of work done. Who's going to scale faster, right? He's going to lap me every single time. So build systems that you can delegate, so you can actually step out of the business and look at it at a macro level and see where's the most needle moving work that drives 80% of the results. Oh, and one lesson I want to bring up here as well, so sub lesson, is the 80-20 principle, right? Work on the 20% that brings the 80%, right? You need to be able to zoom out from your business to actually find the most needle moving thing that's actually doing that for your business right now, and just hammer it down. Lesson 3, which is a bit more niche, but a super important lesson as well when it comes to scaling, is reverse engineering your funnel to a T. You need to be able to understand the data to the point where you know how much your client or how much you should be posting every single day to get X result. Because let's say your goal is to hit 100K a month with your coaching business, with your agency. You need to be able to be so clear with your data and your outputs and your inputs that you know, okay, I need to be posting 2 pieces of reels every single day, 1 story every single day to get this result. You need to know every single metric and optimize it to actually get that result, which we've not been doing. But once we heard it and once we heard how we can actually do it, we're going to be implementing this and scaling to 200K months next year for sure. And that's so important, because if you don't have data, you're scaling blindly. You don't know where you're going. You're just basically hoping that you actually hit the goal, which can work, I guess. But if you know what your data is and what kind of metrics you have, it's going to be so much easier, because you can then work just on the inputs that you know will drive you those results and are the most needle moving things that you can do, basically. Which brings us to lesson 4, which is playing the long-term game. A lot of us at least in the infra product industry, think about things on a really short-term horizon. We want to be making XYZ in 30 days. We want to be making XYZ in 60 days. But when you zoom out a little and think about your actions and your inputs on a 12-month horizon, on a 24-month horizon, on a 5-year horizon. Think about how those inputs are going to be compound, how those inputs compound on that horizon, right? If you post content every single day for the next year, think about how massive of an influence that's going to be on your revenue, on your traffic, on your brand. It's crazy. And by thinking short term, we start making emotional decisions, because we think, okay, I had a bad day, I had a bad week, I had a bad month, I need to start doing this, I need to fire my team, I need to hire more. Start operating from an emotional state. You start panicking, which is eventually going to lead to our downfall. But when you think about having a bad month out of 12 months, that's not even 10% of the year, right? Still got, I don't know the math, but like over 90% of the year left. That's just only one bad month out of 12. It's nothing. So if we start operating from a long-term horizon, start moving smarter, and we actually are able to sustain our growth and scaling that's happening on a longer time period. The last thing I want to share with you guys is that we're all human beings at the end of the day. I met a lot of cool people in the event that are making a lot of money at a young age, that I thought would be somewhat special or different to the rest of us. But in the end of the day, they're all just normal teens that has worked super hard or super smart. And everything is actually possible if you just put the inputs, if you just do the right inputs and actually want it hard. But thank you for watching this raw talk on the lessons I learned from the mastermind. If you have any questions, drop me a comment below or DM me on IG. And we'll see you guys at the next video. Take care.